name is Mark Miodovnik. I'm a material scientist from King's College London. And I'm going to talk to you about stuff. You're made of stuff, I'm made of stuff, this floor is made of stuff, and it's wonderful stuff. But you think you know something about stuff, don't you? But I'm going to show you some strange stuff that perhaps you don't know so much about. The Royal Institution. Such a civilised place. A cup of tea before I start my lecture. How wonderful. And I need some sugar. Let's get some sugar stuff. Here it is. Put it in my tea. Now, look, even the cup is made of stuff. The spoon is made of stuff. Stir my cup. And the thing is about stuff is that sometimes it does things that you weren't really expecting. A spoon that melts in your tea. Not so useful maybe, but still incredible, don't you think? Now, while we're on incredible, I've got a liquid here that's incredible. And before I show it to you, I want to ask you all a favour. Could you all turn off your common sense for this lecture? I need you just to turn it off. I know your mums and dads want you to have it on for the rest of the time afterwards, but I'm going to show you some things that are so strange, so odd, that it's just going to be a hindrance if you'll keep saying, oh, but that doesn't make any sense. So turn off your common sense. Now, liquids and mobile phones, they don't really mix, do they? Anyone who's ever sat down at the loo with their phone in the back pocket and heard a splosh knows this. Okay, so you shouldn't be doing this, should you? Right? No problem at all if you've got a strange liquid called a fluorocarbon. This stuff doesn't hurt mobile phones at all. In fact, mobile phones love it. Still working? Fine as you like. Now, don't you think we should put this in all the loos? Don't you think? That will save us all a lot of bother. So stuff really can just take you completely unawares. Here is a coffee cup set, sent to me by my aunt. I was using it for ages until I thought, there's something very odd about this. I took it into the lab, and we did all sorts of tests on it. Nothing came up positive until we used the Geiger counter on it. Now, a Geiger counter detects radioactivity. Now, if I'm radioactive, this will click. Whew. It's a very strange present from your aunt, don't you think? I've been checking all her presents from then on with the Geiger counter, I can tell you. So, how do we understand these strange properties of matter? And can we, once we understand them, can we use them to make even more marvellous things? Well, in order to understand that, I need to take you on a journey which is going to involve understanding about size. And what does that mean? Well, we're sort of used to the 3 dimensions of space, aren't we? Sort of X, Y, Z, left, right, down, back, up. And you sort of think, if I know where I am in those dimensions, surely I know everything. But it turns out not to be true. It turns out that even for a whale, or an ant, or a teacup, you need to know how big you are if you know how things are going to happen in the world. So let me take you on a journey. We're going to be dimension travellers in these lectures. And I'm going to take you to the really big. I'm going to take you to skyscrapers, and I'm going to show you that the forces that dominate up there is gravity. And that's going to really make a big difference to huge things. And then we're going to zoom into small things, atoms, and we're going to see that different physics dominates down there. Quantum mechanics, very strange stuff goes on. And also, despite the fact that it's very small, there's a lot of space down there. How weird is that? And the key point is going to be that at different scales, different physics dominates. So, even though I can stand on a tiny salt crystal, right, it's not gravity that's keeping me stuck to it, it's the surface forces of this crystal plane. It's actually very sticky. In this lecture, what we're going to be doing is looking at animals, right? And how size affects animal behaviour. In particular, why it's very useful to be small. So we're going to look at ants, and we're going to see how they're super strong. And to be honest, when you're shrunk down like this, super scary. And then we're going to look at the big things. Elephants, right? Wonderful, huge creatures, amazing things. But it turns out they're not actually relatively very strong. And we're going to ask the question, can they really dance? Okay, so that's going to be the journey we're going to take. Now, I've got a pet hamster called Hamish. Has anyone here got a pet at all? Have any of you got pets? You have? So let's shout out their names. What is it? You got cats, dogs? What have you got? Dog. Crocodile. Right, okay, all right. Fantastic. Now, I took my pet hamster on holiday with me. I hope you all take your pets on holiday with you. So we went to Dubai. And the reason we went to Dubai, it's very hot there, so I wanted to get this sun, so did my hamster. And the reason we went there is because we wanted to see the tallest building in the world. This is the Burj Khalifa, and it is huge. It's half a mile high, and we went to the top of the Burj Khalifa, and this is what happens when you look down. It is very scary. Half a mile down, that's what it seems. And I had my hamster, and I said to my hamster, whoa, that's a long way down. Tell you what, I'll race you to the bottom. You go this way, right, and I'll take the lift. And the funny thing is that he kind of was up for that. He was up for jumping. Now, that isn't a very tenable position for a hamster, is it? Jumping off a building. Or is it? Maybe he knows something that I don't. Now, if I fell from this height, I'd certainly die. But could Hamish survive? Does size matter when it comes to falling off buildings? We really should meet Hamish, don't you think? And see what he's got to say. So come and meet Hamish, the hamster, and also his friend, the dog, Sweet. Oh, here's Hamish. Oh, hello, Hamish. Sweet. Hello, so what's your name?
Charlotte.
Charlotte, and you?
Alan.
Alan, and you've got Sweet and Hamish. Oh, how is he doing? And how sweet. They're both happy, right, okay. Now, who thinks that, let's say, Hamish could survive a jump off a tall building? Quite a lot of you. And who thinks that they have no chance? Hamish has no chance of surviving. Who thinks that? A few of you? All right, a few of you. Okay, so we're undecided in this audience, aren't we? Okay, and what about Sweet the dog? Who thinks Sweet the dog could survive a large fall off a building? Well, no one does. Oh, you do? Fantastic, brilliant. Okay, love it. Okay, great. Okay, so how would we decide this? How can we decide if this is true or not? Well, let's do an experiment, right? Now, you'll have noticed we've got this large box here, in this lecture here. Now, this isn't as tall as a tall building, but it's pretty high. So if we do an experiment dropping pets, we're going to surely find out the answer to this, aren't we? Now, of course, we're not going to drop real pets. Did you think? Oh, come on. I really hope that no one at home either thinks about dropping pets. It's really cruel. We'd never do that. We'd never do that. We've got some crash test pets over here who are going to take the place of these pets, and we're going to do the experiment with these crash test pets. But later on, we're going to bring you two back on to review the results. Is that okay, Hamish? Yeah, you can watch over there. So you go back and take your seat, and you do Sweet, and we'll see what happens. All right. So, this is pretty exciting. This is Andy. Andy has rigged up this thing, and it's a box, and it's going to take these crash test pets to the top of this lecture theatre. Now, what are these crash test pets? They're balloons filled with jelly, which is ballistic jelly. So it's kind of it replicates the flesh of a. Well, I mean a bit. All right. So this is crash test dog. He's ready, isn't he? And this is crash test hamster. Yes. Oh, he's moving all over the place. All right. They're a bit nervous. Fair enough. They're going to have a bit of a jump. Now, they're intrepid pets. So let's put crash test hamster up and let's go for this. Now. All right, up he goes. Now, you'll notice that they're both the same shape, right? And they're both made of the same material. So this is a fair comparison. Now, sometimes they don't want to jump. They get nervous when they go. You know what it's like going to the top of the tall board. They don't want to jump, and so we've got this trap door. And I press this button, and crash test hamster has no choice but to drop. It's a bit of a James Bond trick, actually. Okay, crash test hamster. Let's do a countdown for him, shall we? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Let's hear it for crash test hamster. Yes. Okay, so crash test hamster has survived, as most of you thought, And now it is only, let's just have a look at him. How is he feeling? Yes, you're fine. Well done. Good one. Yeah. Bring it on, he's saying. Taller, higher, bigger. Okay, now, Crash Test Dog's looking a bit nervous now. He's got his turn next. Crash Test Dog, how are you feeling? Yes, all right. You're being a bit quiet. Okay. Right, let's get Crash Test Dog in here. How's he feeling? All right, now. Crash Test Dog, up he goes. I've got a little kind of communication link with Crash Test Dog. Yes, I know. You'll get a bone. Yes. Okay, all right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think we might need a ambulance. Yeah, we might. I think, yeah, we're getting the ambulance. Yeah, okay, fine. The jelly ambulance is coming. All right. All right. So Crash Test Dog is not looking too well from that fall. So it turns out that essentially, as you guys thought, most of you, and it does actually matter how big you are, whether you survive a fall. So what's changed? I mean, we've got the same material. One of them isn't stronger than the other one, right? It's just jelly, and they're both made of jelly. So what has changed? Well, one is bigger than the other. What does bigger mean? Well, let's think about volume. There's a funny word, isn't it, volume? Because you kind of think of it as liquids and things that you drink, but it actually just means how much space you occupy. But it is an odd thing. So let's just explore volume for a bit. And I'm going to need a volunteer for this. Okay, yes, would like to volunteer there? Yes. Annie, now, do you want to come around here, Annie? Now, here we go. This looks like some weird game, doesn't it? It sort of is, in a way. I hope you're up for this. Now, we've got one sphere here which is empty, and it's twice as big as these small spheres which are full of water, coloured water, right? Now, when I said it's twice as big, you didn't stop me there, did you? But you probably wanted to say, tell me more, what do you mean by bigger? Right? Good thinking. So I'll answer that question. It's an excellent question. So I'm talking about the width, so the diameter, right? So let me just prove that to you. This is 7.5 in width, diameter, and this is 15. Right? So across there, it's double. Now, the question to you, and this is really difficult because you're under the cameras and the lights and everything, I'm going to ask you how many of these, if we had to pour into that one, which is twice the diameter, would we have to pour in order to fill this up to the top? I.e., what's the ratio of the volumes? Now I'm going to give you 2 seconds to think about this, because you've already... And I'm going to ask the audience to think about this too, but not to shout it out, but to do the calculation in your heads. Because you all know the formula for a volume of a sphere, don't you? Right? 4 over 3 pi r cubed. All right, so you guys do the calculation, right? And we'll do the experiment. So, go on then. How many do you think? 8. Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh ho ho! Do you think she's right? Who thinks that is way too many? Quite a lot of you. And who thinks it's too few? And actually it's a trick that we've only put 9 here. Some of you. Nice. Would we do that? Maybe we would. All right, so let's go. Why don't you have a go? You think 8? That's 1. Although this isn't going up very fast. That's 2. All right, that's 3. 4. Well, it's looking good for you, isn't it? Well, that's 5. Are you getting nervous? A little bit. All right, that's 6. This is 7. And here we go. Oh, now, the question is it going to be 8? And are you going to be victorious? And if you are you going to run up the stairs shouting MEP? Yes! Okay, look, thank you very much for that, and yeah, do have a seat again. Okay, so it's quite surprising, don't you think? You increase something by twice, right, the width, the diameter twice, and your volume increases by 8 times. Now, Crash test dog is back, and he's bandaged up. He survived. Yes, that's like, I mean, the show must go on, doesn't it? How are you feeling? Oh, yeah, not too talkative. Fair enough. Okay, so how does this all relate to crash test dog and crash test hamster? Well, they're different sizes. So how different in sizes are they? Well, crash test hamster is about 5 and a bit, and crash test dog is about 25 and a bit. So crash test dog is 5 times bigger than crash test hamster. If you do the maths in your head, you're doing it up there now, that turns out that crash test dog is 100 times bigger volume than crash test hamster. 100 times. Okay, so that would mean, if that's true, that would mean that crash test dog is 100 times heavier than crash test hamster. Right? Force of gravity on it is going to be 100 times heavier. So do you guys believe me on that one? Do you think that's at all believable? 100 times heavier? Well, I've got some scales here, and let's just have a look at that, because let's measure it. So crash test hamster, right, is about 100 grams. And a crash test dog, even injured with his bandage, so it's a bit unfair because he's got a bit more weight. But no, yes, just over 10 kilos. So crash test dog is about, in fact, slightly more than 100 times bigger than crash test hamster. 100 times heavier. So does that answer our question why crash test dog had such a hard time when he hit the floor? Because he was 100 times heavier, had 100 times more force, hurtling him down to the floor. Well, it's not the whole story, because when you hit the floor, you can basically spread your weight, right, and the force of impact over a large area. So the pressure on every part of you will be reduced. Okay? So it's not just how much force you hit the floor with, it's how much you can spread it out. So that's about area, isn't it? This kind of thing called area. And so we really want to know whether crash test dog is 100 times bigger area, whether the outside of crash test dog is 100 times bigger area than crash test hamster, don't we? That's what we really want to know. So what we did earlier is we scanned in with a 3D scanner these two animals, right, crash test animals, and we worked out their areas, and we've got them here. Oh yes, look, surface area of crash test hamster is 100, and surface area of crash test dog is 2,800. So that's a bit concern-making now. Now we're starting to get worried for crash test dog. Too late, I know you're saying, but anyway, because the area over which it could spread that force has only gone up by essentially 28 times, but the weight has gone up by 100 times. And this tells you something really fundamental about making things bigger. It's that the area to volume ratio changes when you get bigger. So as you get bigger, it turns out that your area doesn't keep up with your volume. You get more inside and you get less and less outside proportionally. And that really means that when you hit the ground, you've got less area to spread that force over. So we have an action replay. I know you've all been waiting for this action replay of the rather unfortunate accident hamster. So this is crash test hamster coming down and spreads its weight over a large area and survives. We knew it survived. So it was okay. Now if we go to crash test dog, what happens is crash test dog comes down, tries to spread, it's got 100 times more force, but it's only got 28 times more area, and basically the pressure on all its extremities couldn't cope, and it split, but luckily we could rebuild him, and he seems to be on the mend. So there it is. So it turns out the reason, right, one of the reasons why it gets that easier for you to survive a fall when you're smaller, because you've got a lot of area and not very much volume. So your surface area to volume ratio is very high. And there's something else that helps you too, right? Because we've kind of gone on the assumption that they hit the floor at the same speed. But did they? I mean, things don't always fall at the same speed. And I want to just show you something about that here with this demo. I've got a snowflake, and I've got a snowball, right? Well, they're not really snowflakes, but they're, they represent them, right? Now, they're the same weight. They're exactly the same weight, but they won't fall, or well, let's see. Will they fall at the same speed? Okay. No, they won't. So that's interesting because basically they have the same force on them, don't they? They have the same force pushing them down, pulling them down with gravity because they've got the same weight. But this one has more area, so it has more air resistance. So if you think about that with regards to small hamsters, not only do when they hit the ground do they have more area to spread it over, right? When they're coming down, they slow down quicker because of their surface to volume ratio is really good. And we know this, right? Snow falls very gently, doesn't it? If you take the same volume of liquid and you make it into a drop of rain, it hits the floor quite hard, actually. It hits the top of my head very hard, I can tell you. That's the price you pay for being a little bit bald. But anyway, let's not go into that. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay. All right, so we know the rules now. The rules of falling are that surface to volume ratio is king. You really need to know this. So if instead of hamster was jumping off the tallest building, if it was me, right, then I could manipulate the rules, maybe. So let's say I jump off the building, right? I'm falling through the air, right? And then I realise that I haven't got a big enough surface to volume ratio. Doesn't that always happen after you jump? So I think, Hamish, chuck me the umbrella. Thanks. Hamish chucks me on the umbrella, and now I've increased my area, right? And so I'm going to slow down. And I fall much slower. So I basically am cheating. I'm actually increasing my area artificially. And this, of course, is the essence of a parachute. So parachutes work because they change, you cheat, you change your surface to area ratio, you add a lot of area, and you don't really change your weight very much, or volume very much. So that's really cool. So actually, when you're parachuting, what you're doing is becoming a hamster. Okay? Parachutists don't talk about it like that. It's much more of a gung-ho sport, but that's really what's happening. So, okay, it's not just actually that it helps you jump off buildings with surface to volume ratio and survive falls. It's really important in your whole life. How many of you are fed up with people saying to you, "Oh God, you've grown," or "How tall are you now?" And you're like, "Oh, why are you obsessed with my height?" That kind of thing. And then people constantly measuring your height, and you're like, next time I've got a good line for you guys. You say, "Look, don't worry about my height. It's my surface to volume ratio you should be worrying about," okay? When I was a kid, I used to go to the swimming pool with my brothers, who were all bigger than me, and I used to start shivering about 10 minutes in, freezing, cold, blue. I went blue with cold. And they were like totally fine, swimming around for hours. And I always used to think, "Oh my God, they're sort of stronger, tougher than me, aren't they?" But actually, they just had a lower surface to volume ratio than me. So your area is what cools you as a person, right? So that you evaporate water off you. And it's your volume that gives you your warmth, the blood and all this kind of thing. So if you haven't got very much volume and you've got a lot of area, then you're going to cool down fast. And so you're going to shiver. So the bigger you get, the less cold you're going to get in swimming pools. And this is also true of babies, right? So people always dressing babies up with 10 coats, and you're like, come on, don't model coddle them. But they've got a terrible, in a sense, surface to volume ratio when it comes to cold. You really do need to put coats on them. So that's us manipulating surface to volume ratio. But could we find examples of nature manipulating in other ways? And we found one the other day when I was on holiday. I was looking at the ceiling in Dubai, and this gecko was walking across the ceiling, and I was thinking, how can it do that? That's really mad. And so I kind of went home and I sort of started to do some research about how geckos can stick on the ceiling. Hello, Charlotte, we've got a gecko with us, haven't we?
Yes.
Gordon Gecko. He's in there, isn't he?
Yeah.
And what kind of gecko is he?
He's a tokay gecko, the largest type you can get.
Right, okay, brilliant. And he is able to walk up walls, isn't he?
He is. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? We ought to guess he can walk up walls, everyone. Okay, so can we have a look? Would he have a go at that, do you think?
Yeah.
Is he going to be camera shy, or is he going to be...
Give him a go. Might be a bit noisy. Okay.
Oh, there he goes. He looks a bit annoyed.
A little bit.
Is he a bit annoyed?
He's all right. They do have a bit of a temper on them.
Right. Is it because he hasn't eaten or something? Does he? Or he's
No,
been
he's
eating?
all right.
He's been eating. Okay, because I get a bit annoyed. I mean, I sort of short that anyway.
Ready?
Okay, there he is. Look at that. Now, how on earth does he do that? That is so brilliant. Well done. That is so amazing. Now, you hang on there. Will he be all right? Can we just leave him there?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Amazing. Isn't it amazing? All right, so let's think about how a gecko can do this. And actually, I was thinking in my hotel room, and I was having a word with Hamish the hamster, and we came up with 4 possible explanations. I'm going to run them past you, and then we're going to do a vote, so you guys can run with me on this one. We thought that it may be that geckos have some sort of glue on their paws, right? A bit like a spider squirting out glue, and that's how they can walk up walls. So that is option number 1 for you to think about. Option number 2 is that they actually have nails. So, well, not nails, but something spiky, all right? And that's how they get up these walls. Oh, is he all right?
Yeah, he's fine.
I'm talking about you, Gecko. Yes. Ooh. Yes. Option number 3 is that, and this is my favourite, that they have these kind of suckers on them. Like stuff you put onto bathrooms and things like that. Suckers? Impressed? Well, all right. And option number 4, they have some sort of weird hairs on them. Weird kind of hairs. We sort of run out of ideas, haven't we, by that point? Okay, weird hairs. So, let's have a vote. Who thinks it is bits of glue, a bit like a spider, squirting out glue? Anyone? Who votes for that? Ooh, no one. Who votes for the nails? Come on, that's quite a good idea. No? Who votes for suckers? Suckers! Maybe, I'm not giving anything away. All right, and who votes for the hairs? So in fact, we're sort of equally split in this audience between hairs and suckers. Not often you get to say that, is it? Anyway, all right, so... Gordon, do you want to tell us how you do it? No, you don't. All right. All right, so let's see how he does it. Let's actually have a look under the microscope. So what we did is we found a microscopic image of the paws of a gecko, and we've got it over here. And look, when you actually look underneath the microscope at these paws of the gecko, and this is really high magnification, you get this thing that looks a bit like sort of celery or kind of rhubarb. Now we zoom even further in. Yes, look, hairs. Actually hairs on the end of sort of hairs. So it's hairs on hairs is what this gecko's paws are under the microscope. So this gecko has hairy hands. However ludicrous that sounded, it is the truth. So that's really mad, isn't it? Okay, well look, before we go on, I'm just going to let Gordon go because he looks like he's kind of, he wants to have a bit of a rest, doesn't he?
Keep a second on that.
Thank you very much. Geckos climb up walls using hairy hands. Well, that hasn't told us anything, has it? I mean, that's how it works, but why does that work? What's going on there? So, I want to do a demo now, which is going to try and eke that out. What's really going on here? And I'm going to need 6. Can you believe it? I need 6 volunteers, and I need 3 boys, the strongest boys in the world, and 3 girls, the strongest girls in the world. Okay, so boy there, yes, and go on, the dog denier, and yes, that girl there, yes, go on, yes, you, yes, you, yes. Okay, now girl power versus boy power. Now what we've got here is 2 health and safety manuals, right? And if I sent that, so you can hold that rope, and you guys hold that rope. Have you got a bit of the rope? Now you need to go in a line. It's basically All right, you're going to pull against each other. You ready? Now, 2 health and safety manuals, and all we've done with them is interleave the pages. There's no glue, there's no bolts or anything, just interleave the pages. And what I want you to do is if you're strong enough, to rip these apart, all right? And in doing so, humiliate the boys by sort of pulling them across here. You guys, girl power, boy power, right? Ready? Are you guys ready? Steady, go! Yes, and the girls are really holding the boy. But what's happening to this? What is happening to this? Come on, guys! Yes! It's the foot! It's all right. Okay. Wow, that's a dead heat, I think. Well done, guys. Well done, guys. But also, what also won here, I think, was these books, right? Now, yes, I know. You're right. Yes, they always win. I know, you have to get used to that in life. Now, look, do you believe me that there's no glue here? Now, have a look at that. Look at that. Okay. That's mad, isn't it? No glue, right? Just paper. No glue? So, that's incredible, isn't it? It turns out that even though you guys are really strong, you would have to have 2 tanks pulling in opposite directions to pull this apart. Absolutely amazing, isn't it? Well, look, thanks a lot very much. Thanks. And you can go back to your seats. Thanks a lot, guys. Next time you're in a burning building, right, and you're thinking there's no way out, and you start going for the sheets and knotting them together, don't do it. Get the telephone directories, all right? Who says yes? So look, how does that work, and how can that help us understand the gecko? Well, why is it such a strong force? Well, it turns out that what's keeping those pieces of paper together is these tiny molecular forces between the 2 sheets. And the forces are very small, but if you maximize them over lots of area, right? So if you can times a small force by a large area, you get a decent force. And by having every single piece of paper over each other, we actually managed to get a large area of interface there, didn't we? So could it be that the gecko is using the same idea to climb up walls? Well, what does a wall look like when it's magnified up? And this is not a picture of the Alps, but it might be, right? This is what happens if you magnify a wall. It may look smooth to you, and you may run your finger across a wall or a surface and think, well, that's quite smooth. But under the microscope, surfaces are very rough. They look like the mountains, right? So if you are touching something, so this is a massive me, right? This is what my thumb looks like. See, quite nicely groomed. If I'm touching a wall and I'm trying to climb up it, I need to if I want to use the same force as with the book demo, I need to maximize my area of contact. So I try to do that. I'm pressing my finger in here, but you can see that actually all I ever do is I kind of just touch the tips of the mountains. And it's really very hard for me to do anything else. And so ultimately I get very little contact with the wall in terms of area. And so I don't get any kind of help. And this is also true of when you touch anything. You touch a surface and you think you're touching it. You're mostly just touching the tips of mountains. We very rarely really touch things. But the gecko knows better, right? The gecko has hairy hands. Right, so if we were to zoom in on a gecko's paw, we've always seen that. It's got these amazing hairs. So look what the gecko does. The gecko gets onto the wall. The wall is rough, but that's no problem because the hairs get right down into the valleys, right? And you're maximising an area of contact there. So even though there's no adhesive force in terms of glue or any kind of mechanical scratching, it's just the same force, these surface forces, which are tiny, but you maximise the area of contact and you can climb up walls. So well done, Gecko, for working that one out, because that's pretty impressive. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you material scientists, why don't you just get on with it and make some gloves, like a gecko's hand, hairy gloves, and then we can all just walk up walls and be Spider-Man, right? That's exactly what you're thinking. And, well, it's not so far from the truth. So, got here the latest sample from a lab in California, which is trying to do exactly that. It's just a prototype at the moment, and I just want to show you what it looks like under the microscope. So we go here and we look in. See, actually what they've done, they've engineered a material that is incredibly, has these like filaments, and when they're pressed against the wall, they bend and they make huge contact with that wall. And it just feels very smooth and flat, but you can just stick things onto it. Ooh. It's a prototype, okay. No, it does work actually. Oh, there it is. Yes. So actually the future could be that we have these amazing gloves. But there is one problem with that future, and I want to show you that problem with that future with this enormous piece of blue tack. Because this stuff you know, right? And you're thinking blue tack, yawn. But it's actually as sophisticated as the gecko's foot, because it works in the same way. You take a small piece of blue tack, right? And this stuff is not sticky. It's not got adhesive in it, has it? You could infinitely reuse this stuff. It's not like a piece of sellotape, right, or sticky tape, where actually after a while it just gets it loses its stick. So how does that work? Well, it's the same as the gecko's foot. It's a material that becomes liquid when you put pressure on it, and that liquid flows into the mountains, the rough mountains of this surface, and then it maximizes the area of contact, uses the same adhesive forces, these weak adhesive forces, and sticks. You use this all the time, and it's the same as a gecko's. So that's fantastic. And then you think, well, okay, I'm just going to go home and I'm going to just cover myself in blue tack. I know you guys, but don't do it, because from what you've learned tonight, you already know there's a problem, right? Which is that although the adhesive force goes up, if your volume, right, isn't matching that force, if your volume's going up quicker, then it's going to override it. So if you try and just stick this whole piece of blue tack, I'm putting pressure on it, I'm doing all the adhesive stuff, but this volume is very large, isn't it? So the force downwards is too big for that adhesive force. Okay, so it's not an accident that geckos are small, right? Because they've got low weight. And it's all about this ratio, the surface to volume ratio. So we need something even better than geckos in order for us to be like Spider-Man. Well, I think we can do it. It's just a matter of time. Okay. So, fantastic. Now look, it's surface to volume ratio, and I will keep going on about it, but it really is absolutely crucial to your life, and no more so than this demo is going to show you. Here, under this here, I've got a model, and it's a model of my lungs, okay? This is what my lungs look like. I'm going to put exactly, there we go, whoop, there we go, whoop, no, there we go, aha! Now, I'm breathing in, and this is exactly what my lungs, the right size for me. So air is coming into these lungs. Now, would you believe that this is big enough? Probably not. When you're breathing in now, you're breathing in a large volume of air. So if we all breathe in now, we're all breathing stuff into this kind of structure. Now, at that moment, breathe out, everyone. Don't want you all fainting. At that moment you breathe in, your body has to extract all the oxygen it needs to be alive, right? So it's taking oxygen from a large volume, and it has to get into the blood vessels, which is a large area. So basically it has to find a way of interfacing that large volume of air into all the blood vessels. And it does this by making these tiny little sacs, these alveoli sacs. And it spreads them all out into kind of filigree way. And it's just like with the hamster, right? As you get smaller, these little sacs are like spheres. As they get smaller, their area in proportion to their volume gets larger and larger and larger. And that's exactly what you want. You want a large area to interface with the oxygen, right? Get the oxygen into your blood and to get the carbon dioxide out of your blood. So it's your own body is using the surface to volume ratio to actually just let you live. And I want to show you how big this area is that you need to live. Because you can't really see it here because you're seeing it as a volume, right? But if you spread all these out onto a sheet, how big would that sheet be? Well, let me show you how big that sheet would be. Okay, we've got it here. All right, now I'm going to take this up. Am I? Yes. And I'm going to try and spread the sheet out. This is a piece of silk that's the same area as my lungs. Would you believe it? It's just inconceivable, isn't it? That all of this area could be inside your body. And I want you to pass this around. Is that possible? Yes! It's quite a nice experience being in my lungs, isn't it? Okay, keep going, guys. Keep going. All right, so you guys let go. Just go ahead. There we go. My lungs, ladies and gentlemen. There's a small hole. You know, when you spot the small hole, that's where I used to smoke. And essentially, that is what happens when you smoke. Your lung area gets smaller and smaller, and so you get out of breath. So if you get out of breath and you have lung disease, you get a smaller area in which to absorb oxygen, and that's the problem. So maximising your area of your lungs is incredibly important to you. So this whole thing is incredible. The surface to volume ratio, right? Area to volume ratio is so important to you. It can help you survive jumping off a building. Right, it can help geckos climb up walls. It can do all sorts of things. It's really integral to how you breathe and live. But it does something even more important than that. Right? It can determine whether you can dance or not. From Strictly Come Dancing, aren't you?
We're with the choreographers of the show, yes.
And what are your names?
Chris Marquez.
Jacqueline Spencer.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, you dance so brilliantly. I'm so envious. And in fact, I made some notes. And I just wanted to run these past you because I've come up with 3 rules, having watched you, about what you need to be able to do to dance. And I'll run them past you. If you don't mind, you can sort of critique them and see if I'm on the right track so I can dance like you.
All right, go ahead.
Is that okay? All right, so one of the rules to be able to dance is just to be able to stand. Yeah. Turns out that, you're standing now, and if you couldn't do that, that would be difficult, wouldn't it? So
Absolutely.
That seems a prerequisite, doesn't it? You've got to be able to stand. And then I noticed that you were sort of jumping from foot to foot, and there was kind of jigging around and stuff like that, and that seems to be quite a lot of strength in your legs you needed.
Yeah, you need to be able to kind of move your weight. Weight transfer in general is very important, obviously, to dancing, yes.
Yes, okay, so, and you had to kind of be strong enough to pick up your partner. So that's also weight in the legs, isn't it? And
yes, again, it's
here.
the legs, but very often you find that the whole tone in the body.
So standing up, strength, jumping. If I can do those things, I can dance.
Well, yes, with a bit of rhythm.
Well, look, I'm going to work on those rules for a bit now, and then I'm going to come back to you at the end. But before you go, I just want to get the scores. Now.
10.
Bring it on! Okay, so, now look, standing. That doesn't seem too hard, does it? But is it? Is it so simple as that? So we're back to spherical animals because basically if you ask a physicist to do anything, they'll end up starting with a sphere. And so my model for an animal is a sphere, but this time legs. That's a step forward, isn't it? Literally. Okay, so now I've got a spherical animal. Now all of its weight, right, has got to go through its legs. Okay, so that means that these legs are like the pillars of a building, right? All of the force is coming through them. So the area, that cross-sectional area of those legs, is what's taking all the weight through there. So if that's small, then there might not be enough. They've got to be strong enough to support this whole weight. Okay, so if I take this animal, all of its weight's going through its legs, and it's standing on its own feet. Right? It's got 4 legs, fantastic. Now what happens when I size it up, right? I scale it up, I increase its width by 2. So this is an animal exactly twice as big in proportions. So that means, as we know, that its volume has increased by 8 times. That means its weight has increased by 8 times. But that would be fine if the area of its legs had increased by 8 times. Then it would be exactly the same. But has the area of its legs increased? What do you think? No, it hasn't. Because this area, this cross-sectional area, has only got 4 times bigger. Because of this whole problem. When you size things up, the surface to area ratio changes. So every one of the legs of this animal has twice as much force running through it. And that means that it can't actually stand up. Right? So the thing is, you can't just keep getting bigger as an animal and not change your design, because sooner or later you will collapse under your own weight. Now you think this is, you don't think that this kind of happens, but actually this is what happens with elephants. Right now, this is an elephant's leg of a juvenile from India. It's about 6 or 7 years old, and you can already see, and we know this, don't we, that the ratios of the bones and the thicknesses of the bones have changed, because this is the way out of the problem. If you change the ratios, if you make thicker legs, then you can support bigger weights. And that's what elephants do. They make their bones bigger, they make their legs bigger, because they actually are in trouble if they don't do that. So, Galileo recognized this very early on, and people have noticed this ever since. And in fact, if you look at elephants, you can immediately see it. Proportionally, they have much thicker legs, and they need it. Otherwise, they start to get into trouble with their kind of ability to hold up their legs. And if you look at even bigger things like dinosaurs, they have really fat legs, don't they? And it's not a style choice. Okay? What's the problem with having bigger, thicker legs? Surely that should make them stronger. So we thought, well, if we're going to talk about this, let's just get the strongest person we know and ask them. And here he is. This is the strongest person I know, and he is strong. Hello. So what's your name?
My name's Terry Hollands.
And what are your strength credentials, just so we can all...
I've been England's strongest man, UK's strongest man, Britain's strongest man, and a 5-time finalist, the world's strongest man. So, you say that. Could you just give us a demonstration of exactly how strong you are? Yep, sure.
I lifted these weights earlier, and I just thought, well, as a test, I might try and see if you can lift them too.
Yep.
Do you think you could have a go at that?
Yep, sure.
Did you see the bar bending? That bar, which is about 1 inch thick steel, bent.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing. I am so impressed. So, I want to just get a feel for how much that is compared to your weight. Do you mind me asking how heavy you are?
Sure, I'm 180 kilos.
You're 180 kilos, and what did you just lift here?
That's 380 kilos.
380 kilos. So that means that you lifted a bit more than twice your own weight.
Yep.
That's like a small car, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Small car.
Could you lift a small car?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, so this business about you, so basically you being able to lift twice your own weight, is there anyone who can lift, let's say, 5 times their own weight?
Maybe not 5 times, but some of the lighter guys, generally the bigger you are, the less number of times you can lift your own body weight, basically. The lighter guys will be lifting 3, maybe 3.5 times their weight. The heavier guys will be just over 2.
Absolutely fascinating. I'm really, really so happy that you could come on the show, and thank you very much for showing us all.
Great. Thank you very much.
Wow. Okay, so that was very interesting there, right? If you want to be able to be strong per weight, right? If you want to be able to lift many times your own weight, well, it turns out you need to be small. And we've got the world champions at this, and they turn out to be very small. And I would like to introduce. Well, what's your name?
My name is Karen Wall.
Karen Wall.
I'm a PhD student at Cambridge University at the moment.
Oh, welcome. Okay.
And I do actually study how ants are managed to carry large loads.
Right, so it's ants who are the world champions at lifting many times their own weight.
Right, yeah.
Now, just talk us through this. So what kind of ants are these?
So these are basically leaf-cutting ants.
Look at this one. Look at
It's
that.
amazing, and it's like
He's showing off, isn't he?
he's showing off. Yeah.
He knows the cameras are on, doesn't he? Okay, well, are they going to mind if we pick them up? Are they going to get really annoyed having carried it that far? If I was carrying my sofa up some stairs,
He might drop it, but he might be alright with it. Let's see.
some giant pick me up just to weigh me.
It's alright.
All right, brilliant. Okay, nice one. He doesn't look too annoyed. Still got his sofa.
So now we're on 20.5 milligrams.
Okay, 20.5 milligrams together. Now, can we get just the ant on his own? Is that how? Yeah.
Let's try. He might get a bit angry there.
Okay, all right.
Try to get him up. They don't like leaving these fragments.
If you put the fragment where he wants to put it, does he get pleased? Is he going to go, oh, thanks?
No, I don't
No, he
think so.
doesn't.
Still getting angry.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so put
let's
him back on the scale.
It's just the ant now. So we had 20.7 beforehand. And now
And now we have, yes,
4.
4 or 4.9. So that's about, he was carrying about 4 or 5 times his own weight.
Yeah.
4 or 5 times. So they're equivalent of even more weights than that.
And they can even do more. Like they can go up to about 10 times. And that you might have seen, he's been able to carry it, whereas the weightlifter, he couldn't move anymore.
Don't diss the weightlifter, he's still here.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So, thank you very much. I mean, that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you for kind of bringing them to see us. So the reason why ants are so super strong, or seem so super strong, is because they're so small that they need almost no muscles in their legs to hold them up, because they haven't got much volume, they haven't got much weight. So almost all their muscle is available for carrying things. And that's just true of everything. The smaller you get, the more muscle you have for carrying. So the smaller you get, the stronger you get per weight. But there's another animal that's even better than ants at doing something else, and that's jumping. And we realised that before, didn't we, that we have to jump to also be a great dancer. And so it turns out that this is also something you can do much better if you're small. Now I want to introduce you to a very special guest.
My name's Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got the only genuine flea circus in the UK.
Wow. So, are we actually going to see some fleas being...
Yeah, I brought some performers with me. First of all, we're going to have a demonstration of flea jumping. These are untethered and untrained fleas.
Untethered, but they won't get out of this.
No, hopefully not. Fingers crossed.
No. We don't worry, guys. We checked this earlier, and there's no way they can get out of here. This is like Colditz for fleas.
So we're going to stick one of the fleas on top of the diving board, which is just here.
Whoa!
Oh, and there it goes.
Oh, where did it go? Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Look at that. How far did it jump? That's incredible.
That's about 30 centimetres, I think.
Wow. Look, we recorded something earlier about flea jumping. I just want to show that on this because it's really amazing to see them jumping. I think we can. Yes, here we go. Now look at them. He's ready to jump. He's ready to jump, and then off he goes. He comes behind here somewhere. No, but that's absolutely amazing, isn't it? So they can jump. How far can they jump? They can jump.
These fleas are about 30 centimetres, so several hundred times their own body length.
So that would be like me jumping to the top of Big Ben, right?
Absolutely, you could clear Big Ben.
Clear it. So we wouldn't need stairs, lifts,
Nothing.
if we were fleas.
Absolutely.
And they're so good, all they do is spend their whole time mucking about in the circus, do they? Do they enjoy, I mean, do you have a relationship with these fleas? How do you feed them?
Well, like the old flea circus owner said, I live off them and they live off me.
They suck your blood.
I roll up my sleeves and take them to the team.
That's amazing, isn't it? That is love. That is love. So I'm really glad that you look after these fleas. What on the circus performing front? What can we see? Are they up for it?
The performer I brought today is Fifi the flea, and Fifi is a juggling flea. Oops, me.
Oh, there she goes. No, that's amazing. No, that's amazing. It was a great pleasure meeting you and meeting your fleas and seeing how far they can jump.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
So we talked about what you had to do to be able to dance. It turned out you had to be able to stand on your own feet. You had to be able to be strong enough in your legs and have quite a lot of explosive power, and you had to be able to jump. And as you've seen, it's easier to do all of those things the smaller you get. The smaller you get, the stronger you get. The higher you can jump, the more you can climb up walls and everything. It's so incredibly great being small. But the other way around is also true and sort of depressing, isn't it? It means the bigger you get, the harder all those things get, and so the harder it's going to be to dance. So what we thought we'd do is that we turn me into an elephant, and just to show you exactly how hard it is for a big thing like an elephant to dance. Now, let me give you my jacket. So, made some trousers. What someone's done, the seamstress has done, is they've sewed sand into these things. So, not just heavy at the bottom, they're heavy all the way down, and they kind of... it's so heavy that I can't actually get up. So let me just try. Okay, I'm right. Ooh, it's actually funny, just standing up in these is exhausting. It's so heavy, so much weight I'm having to carry. And it's quite hard to move your legs. But I'm still going to give it a go at dancing, because maybe, even despite all these problems of being big, elephants, maybe they can dance. Let's just try it, shall we?
And keep on with me.
Okay, thank you. Yes. This one forward. I think it's exhausting. Well, thanks very much for trying, guys, but I really think it's hopeless.
Never mind. Thank you.
See you in a bit. All this lecture, it looks like it's really great being small. And so maybe you're getting a bit depressed because you're thinking, well, I'm too big. So I want to end by telling you some good things about being big. And I want to do that by bringing on Hamish the hamster and Sweep the dog. Because, here they are. Hamish, did you enjoy the show? Yes. Yes, hello Hamish, how are you doing? Now, the thing is that all mammals have the same kind of heart. It's designed the same way. So Hamish has got the same kind of heart as me, so has Sweep the dog, and even elephants, right? And it turns out that those hearts will only beat for a certain number of heartbeats until they give up. And do you know how many heartbeats that is? 1 billion. That's what you've got. 1 billion heartbeats. That's what Hamish has got. That's what Sweep's got. Right? So, now, heartbeats. Let's listen to some heartbeats, because that is not all the same, are they? It actually varies with size. So if I listen to Hamish's heartbeat, are you all right, Hamish? Let me just do that. Oh, it's so fast. It's really, really fast. And now if I listen to Sweep's heartbeat, yeah, it's fast too. Not as fast, but... And my heartbeat is slower still. Yes, very good. Yes, calm. No, not really. So that's the funny thing, is that the bigger you are, the slower your heart beats, and the smaller you are, the faster your heart beats. But if we all have the same number of heartbeats, which we do, that means that smaller things live less long, right? Because they use up their heartbeats quicker. So hamsters live for 2 years, dogs live for between 10 and 14 years, and we, rather triumphantly, live 70, 80, 90 years, which is a great thing to think about. So in a way, it kind of all evens up, doesn't it? If you're small, you get to jump, be hugely strong, climb up walls, jump off buildings. If you're large, you get to look at all that and live a long life. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you realise that size really does matter. It matters for you. And thank you and good night.
And the next of the Royal Institution Christmas lectures, Why Chocolate Melts and Jet Engines Don't, is here on BBC4 tomorrow at 8. Next tonight, a taste of the summer holidays as Britain goes camping.